And I'm afraid the election's going to be rigged, I have to be honest.
This year, everybody's talking about vote hacking.
There are worries that a cyber attack could influence voting results.
But could a hacker actually change your vote?
Is there any evidence that hackers could change the results on Election Day?
Hacking's already played a big role in this campaign, with hacks to the DNC, the DCCC, and former Secretary of State Colin Powell. Fears of vote hacking aren't totally misplaced. Hackers have already managed to access at least 3 voter registration databases. But that's not the same thing as hacking a voting machine. Voter registration databases are already public information. That's how you're able to look up your polling place online. And even though some databases have been accessed, there's no evidence that the hackers successfully changed any information. And crucially, unlike voter registration databases, voting machines don't hook up to the internet. So they should be safe from hacks, right? Well, not necessarily. Research security firm Symantec recently claimed to have found vulnerabilities in a common voting machine. We went to their New York City offices to get a demonstration.
You provide your registration information and they issue you a card, and then you go up to the system, you put in that chip card, and you select who you vote for. Great. That would be a legitimate vote. But for $15 out there, one could get one of these code programmers, planted on this card, said Samir is hard-coded to the card. So now after I've done my vote, I give it back to the poll volunteer, and the rest of that day, every vote done with this card is registered as Samir. That then compromises the integrity of the system. So when they tally the votes, they said, how the heck could Samir have voted 15,000 times today? And so it nullifies that whole process.
Symantec's hack shows that some voting machines may be at risk, but not everyone's concerned that that puts the entire election in jeopardy, including FBI Director James Comey.
The actual vote counting in this country tends to be kind of clunky. And in a way, as I said, that's a blessing because it makes it more resilient and farther away from an actor who might be looking to crawl down a fiber optic cable.
When Comey says our voting system is clunky, he's talking about our states. Our voting system isn't really run by the federal government, it's operated by 50 individual state governments. Each state has to adhere to federal guidelines, but they're all free to pick their own equipment, which is why this year there's over 45 different types of machines in use. That means that there's not one hack that will disable all the different machines, and crucially, that there's no one central database with all our election results. But as we saw in Florida in 2000, it only takes one compromised district to throw an entire election into question. So if voting machines are vulnerable, isn't there some risk of a hacked election? We asked that question to Lawrence Norton of NYU's Brennan Center for Justice.
There are 10,000 voting jurisdictions. They have different machines. They use different ballots. They have different security rules around them. So it's not like attacking an email server, which we've seen happen in this election, or even attacking a statewide voter registration database where you can hit one point and potentially do damage. The second thing is that these machines certainly shouldn't be ever connected to the internet. And obviously that makes attacking them remotely much more difficult. And the third is that we have these paper records. About 80% of us will have some kind of paper record that we've reviewed or voted on.
Norton's not scared of people hacking voting machines. He's more scared about people hacking us.
I am concerned about voter confidence in this atmosphere. They hear about Russian hacking, they hear about rigged elections, and particularly if there are things like, and there inevitably will be, machine breakdowns and long lines and videos of machines not recording votes properly. And all of that stuff is going to happen not because anybody's hacking into the system, but just because we have antiquated equipment that needs to be replaced. I worry very much about what that means for our democracy because really a democracy is only as good as people's trust in it.
The folks at Symantec agree.
So if misinformation was distributed, a news site hacked, blogs hacked, tweets hacked, that said somebody was winning, does that create a path for others to follow? Does it make that person that was going to vote for their candidate say it's not even worth it now? And there's no recourse to the social engineering. Perception sometimes becomes reality.
So yes, electronic voting machines have vulnerabilities, but it would be difficult, almost impossible, to exploit those vulnerabilities to hack an entire election. So really, the most likely way this election will be hacked is if someone convinces you not to vote.
The process is rigged. This whole election is being rigged.